Every choice we make in our daily lives shapes the world around us, often in ways we don't see or think about. From tossing out leftovers to leaving the lights on, minor, routine habits can create a massive ripple effect across the planet. But here's the thing. While these habits may seem harmless on the surface, they drive some of the biggest environmental challenges we face today. In this video, we're going to peel back the layers to uncover how ordinary actions, like the products we buy and the resources we use, are linked to things like resource depletion, pollution, and climate change. And more importantly, we'll explore how small, intentional changes can turn those same daily habits into opportunities for significant impact. Let's start with some quick facts. Did you know that globally, humans waste about 1.3 billion tons of food every year? That's about one-third of all food produced. Or that 40% of plastic produced is used just once and then discarded. These aren't just numbers. They're indicators of how our collective behavior harms ecosystems, wastes precious resources, and accelerates climate change. And it's not just food and plastics. Our energy consumption, clothing choices, and water use all play their part. The good news? By adjusting our daily routines, we can reduce this harm. Even small steps can make a big difference when multiplied across millions of people. In the rest of this video, we'll dive into 5 key areas where unsustainable habits often go unnoticed: food waste, plastics, energy consumption, fashion, and water use. Each theme connects to larger global challenges, but each also presents opportunities for meaningful change. Imagine a world where we waste less food, rely less on single-use plastics, switch to smarter energy practices, choose more ethical clothing, and preserve water like a precious resource. It may feel overwhelming, but by taking things one step at a time, we'll show you how simple, sustainable habits can have a powerful, lasting impact, not just on the environment, but on your daily life too. Did you know that nearly 1.3 billion tons of food goes to waste every single year? That's roughly one-third of all food produced globally. But the issue goes far beyond just wasted meals. It's a crisis with serious environmental consequences. Every slice of bread that's tossed, every vegetable that rots in a fridge represents wasted resources. Consider this: producing that food required water, energy, and land. Yet, when it's thrown away, it adds to the 10% of greenhouse gas emissions directly linked to food waste. To put it into perspective, if food waste were a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases after China and the United States. Sobering, isn't it? To make this more relatable, let's narrow it down to our homes. On average, households throw away about 30% of the groceries they purchase. That's like you buying 3 bags of food at the supermarket and leaving 1 bag directly in the trash. Think about the perfectly good apples you forgot at the back of your fridge or the leftovers no one remembered to eat. Now imagine all of that sitting in a landfill, decomposing and releasing methane, a greenhouse gas up to 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. The good news? Reducing food waste at home is entirely possible. Start by planning your meals ahead of time and only buying what you truly need. Store perishables properly to extend their freshness. Did you know that onions and potatoes spoil faster when stored together? And when you can, embrace creativity. That leftover roasted chicken, it has a second life as chicken salad. Overripe bananas, perfect for baking muffins or blending smoothies. Little changes like these, made consistently, can significantly cut down the food waste footprint we leave behind. Let's take a moment to think about plastics. From the moment we wake up and squeeze toothpaste out of a plastic tube, to grabbing a disposable coffee cup on the way to work, plastics are everywhere in our daily routines. Yet, approximately 300 million tons of plastic are produced every year, and shockingly, over half of it is single-use. This ubiquity comes at a devastating cost. Every minute, the equivalent of a garbage truck full of plastic enters our oceans. Once there, these plastics don't biodegrade. They break down into microplastics, tiny particles that infiltrate our water, soil, and even the food we eat. Studies indicate that an average person unknowingly consumes about a credit card's worth of plastic every week. The problem with plastics doesn't stop there. Manufacturing disposable plastics requires the extraction of fossil fuels, releasing greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change. And while many believe recycling is the silver bullet, the reality is starkly different. less than 9% of plastic ever produced has been recycled. The rest ends up in landfills, incinerators, or the environment. Plastics emit toxic chemicals as they degrade, harming wildlife and ecosystems at every stage of their life cycle. What's more, convenience culture fuels our dependence on items like plastic cutlery, takeout containers, and shopping bags, perpetuating this harmful cycle. So what can we do? Small lifestyle shifts can have a massive impact. Start by investing in reusable alternatives. Carry a stainless steel water bottle. Keep reusable grocery bags handy, and swap disposable straws for durable metal or silicone ones. For takeout meals, bring your own containers or utensils. Some stores even reward customers with discounts for using their own cups or bags. By taking these simple steps, you're actively helping to reduce the demand for single-use plastics, cutting down on pollution, and protecting both marine life and your own health. Let's start with one of the sneakiest culprits of energy misuse: electronics left plugged in. Did you know that even when devices like phone chargers, gaming consoles, or microwaves aren't actively being used, they still draw power simply by being plugged into the outlet? This invisible energy drain is dubbed phantom energy or vampire power, and it's estimated to make up roughly 5 to 10% of household energy usage annually. That might not sound like much, but when scaled to millions of households, it results in billions of wasted kilowatt hours every year. To stop feeding these invisible energy vampires, try plugging devices into power strips equipped with off switches and turn them off when not in use. Smart plugs that you can control with your phone are another efficient, modern solution to eliminate this waste. Next, consider your lighting habits. Many of us are guilty of leaving lights on when we walk out of a room, but even swapping out your lighting choices can make a big impact. Traditional incandescent bulbs convert only 10% of the electricity they consume into light, wasting the rest as heat. Switching to energy-efficient LED bulbs not only saves you money, they use up to 75% less energy, but they also last longer, reducing waste and production demand. To step it up a notch, try motion sensor lighting for spaces like hallways and outdoor areas. After all, why light up empty spaces when no one is around? Finally, let's talk about heating and cooling, one of the biggest household energy expenses. Many of us blast the air conditioning in the summer or crank the heat in the winter, often forgetting about more sustainable alternatives. Small changes, like using a programmable thermostat to run these systems only when necessary or wearing season-appropriate clothing indoors, can make a world of difference. Additionally, sealing drafts around windows and doors and investing in insulation can reduce energy loss to outdoor elements. These simple adjustments not only lower your carbon footprint, but also cut your utility bills. Fast fashion, the trend of producing large quantities of inexpensive, trendy clothing with rapid turnover, is one of the most resource-intensive industries globally. Did you know it can take over 2,700 liters of water just to produce a single cotton t-shirt? That's roughly the amount of water one person drinks over 2.5 years. And it's not just water. The fast fashion industry is responsible for 10% of global carbon emissions, more than international flights and maritime shipping combined. The synthetic materials often used, like polyester, also come with a hidden environmental cost, shedding microplastics into waterways every time they're washed. These microplastics infiltrate ecosystems, threatening marine life and even ending up in our food supply. Then there's the waste, lots of it. Globally, over 92 million tons of textile waste are generated every year, much of which ends up in landfills or is incinerated, releasing toxins into the air and soil. Many fast fashion items are not built to last. They're made of cheap materials that wear out quickly, encouraging consumers to toss them and buy more. What's worse, a shocking number of returned or unsold clothes, sometimes brand new, get destroyed rather than donated due to logistical or brand image reasons. This throwaway culture adds to the growing piles of waste, fueling an endless cycle of overproduction and overconsumption. Fortunately, breaking free from the fast fashion cycle isn't impossible. Consider thrifting. Buying secondhand saves money, reduces waste, and gives clothes a second life. Another impactful step? Shifting your mindset by prioritizing quality over quantity. Investing in fewer, durable, timeless pieces not only reduces your wardrobe's carbon footprint, but also means you'll spend less time shopping in the long run. Supporting brands that prioritize ethical practices, like sustainable sourcing and fair labor, is another way to vote with your dollar. And don't underestimate the power of proper clothing care. Following washing instructions and repairing items can help them last for years. By moving toward a buy less, buy better philosophy, you can significantly curb the environmental impact of your fashion choices. Let's start with a mind-blowing fact. Every day, the average American household uses a staggering 300 gallons of water. To put this into perspective, that's enough to fill 6 standard bathtubs every single day. But the problem isn't just how much water we consume. It's also about where that water comes from. Excessive water use drains local reservoirs and aquifers, which can take decades, or even centuries, to recharge. Many of these water sources are already strained, with nearly two-thirds of the global population experiencing water scarcity for at least 1 month a year. And let's not forget the energy toll. Pumping, heating, and treating water consume vast amounts of electricity, further intensifying our carbon footprint. So yes, leaving that faucet running while brushing your teeth might seem minor, but it all adds up. The good news? Small changes in how we use water at home can make a massive difference. Take leaks, for example. Did you know that a single dripping faucet can waste over 3,000 gallons of water per year? Fixing leaks is one of the simplest ways to conserve water. Beyond that, investing in water-efficient appliances like low-flow showerheads and high-efficiency dishwashers can save thousands of gallons annually without sacrificing convenience. Shortening your showers by just 1 minute can save up to 150 gallons per month. These changes may feel small in isolation, but together, they have a huge impact, especially when adopted by many households. Ultimately, conserving water at home doesn't just protect local resources, it supports global ecosystems, too. Freshwater ecosystems are home to countless species, but they're suffering as more rivers and lakes dry up due to excessive water use. By adopting smart habits like running only full loads of laundry or collecting rainwater for outdoor plants, you're contributing directly to the health of these ecosystems. Every drop saved adds up. It's not just about personal cost savings, but about safeguarding our planet's future. So, when you think about water, think about it as the vital, shared resource it truly is. Have you ever opened a tiny item, only to find it encased in layers of plastic wrap, cardboard, and sometimes even foam? Excessive packaging is more common than you think, with a startling 146 million tons of municipal solid waste in the US alone coming from packaging materials every year. The worst offenders are non-recyclable items, like multi-layered plastics and styrofoam, which can take hundreds to thousands of years to break down in landfills, leaching harmful chemicals into the surrounding soil and water systems. Even recyclable options often require specific facilities, meaning that a significant portion still ends up in landfills. This accumulation of waste poses not just logistical challenges, but also untreated environmental hazards. So, where is all this packaging coming from? Look no further than our favorite conveniences, online shopping and grocery stores. Those neatly packaged snacks, individually wrapped produce, or the corrugated boxes delivered to your doorstep may seem harmless, but they collectively account for a massive portion of landfill waste worldwide. For example, it's estimated that Amazon ships roughly 1.6 million packages per day, many of which are padded with plastic mailers and foam. Without significant efforts to reuse or properly recycle these materials, we're contributing to a growing environmental crisis every time we choose convenience over sustainability. The good news? You hold the power to reduce packaging waste in your everyday life. Start by opting for package-free shopping whenever possible. Bring your own reusable bags and containers to farmers markets or bulk food stores. Many grocery stores now allow customers to fill their own jars with grains, spices, and even liquids like oils and honey. Skip individually wrapped snack packs and choose larger bulk sizes to minimize waste. For online shopping, consider consolidating orders to reduce shipments or choosing retailers that use sustainable packaging. Small changes like these, when multiplied by millions of individuals, can have a monumental impact on reducing packaging waste. Convenience culture thrives on providing quick solutions, but it often comes with hidden environmental costs. Think about your last delivery meal. It probably arrived with disposable plastic containers, single-use cutlery, and perhaps even a laminated menu insert, none of which decompose easily. These small conveniences, when multiplied by millions of daily orders, contribute significantly to landfill waste, with packaging materials accounting for nearly 30% of global municipal trash. What's worse, the proliferation of single-serving snack packs, bottled drinks, and pre-portioned food items only exacerbates the issue. These items are designed for ultimate convenience, but leave an outsized ecological footprint. For instance, the energy required to produce the packaging for a single granola bar often exceeds the energy you actually get from eating it. This imbalance makes it clear that while convenience is marketed as efficient, it's anything but sustainable. If this breakdown is helping, tap like and subscribe so you do not miss the next deep dive. The environmental problem doesn't stop at waste. Convenience culture fuels a consumption cycle that drives resource depletion. Consider the plastic cups used in daily coffee runs. Many are lined with a thin film of polyethylene, making them non-recyclable in most facilities. Globally, around 16 billion of these cups are used every year, requiring over 4 million trees and billion gallons of water just for production. Beyond the virgin materials, delivery services also contribute to increased greenhouse gas emissions. On-demand consumerism prioritizes speed over sustainability. Trucks, planes, and motorcycles racing to deliver items create a carbon-heavy chain reaction for products as everyday as your lunch salad. However, it doesn't have to be this way. To counter the waste of convenience culture, start with small but impactful changes. If you order food delivery, consider supporting restaurants that use sustainable or compostable packaging. Better yet, bring reusable containers when picking up food. For single-serving snacks, switch to buying in bulk and pack your own portions in reusable jars or pouches. Carry reusable coffee cups or thermoses, cutting down on millions of non-recyclable cups. Even a seemingly small habit, like refusing the plastic cutlery or napkins that come with takeout orders, can have a huge cumulative impact. Convenience doesn't have to come at the planet's expense. It's about making intentional choices that reduce waste while still fitting modern lifestyles. These actionable steps prove that a little mindfulness can go a long way in reversing the environmental strain of convenience culture. Imagine your closet filled to the brim with clothes you hardly wear, or kitchen cabinets overflowing with gadgets used just once. Overconsumption has become a defining trait of modern culture, encouraged by relentless advertising, cheap manufacturing, and our desire to keep up. But while these habits might feel harmless or indulgent, their ecological footprint is enormous. The production and transportation of goods we purchase unnecessarily, whether it's an impulse buy during a sale or yet another gadget destined for a junk drawer, consumes significant amounts of water, energy, and raw materials. For example, simply buying one extra pair of jeans requires approximately 2,000 gallons of water to produce. And then there's the waste. Every discarded item contributes to landfills overflowing with non-biodegradable materials, releasing harmful greenhouse gases. This cycle perpetuates a damaging system on our planet, one fueled by our collective purchasing power. To counter this unsustainable cycle, a shift toward minimalism and intentional buying is key. Adopting a quality over quantity mindset not only reduces environmental harm, but also encourages a more meaningful connection to the items we own. Start by asking yourself, do I really need this? Before any purchase, pause to consider its environmental cost and longevity. Choose durable, multi-purpose goods over trendy or disposable items. Explore secondhand options or support local artisans for higher quality, sustainable alternatives. Minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's about liberation from unnecessary clutter while benefiting both your wallet and the planet. Remember, small steps add up. Fewer purchases mean fewer discarded items and less stress on finite resources. Let's start by tackling one of the most pervasive recycling myths, that everything with a recycling symbol can automatically be tossed into the recycling bin. Unfortunately, that's far from the truth. Items like greasy pizza boxes, plastic bags, and even receipts often contaminate recycling streams, rendering entire batches unrecyclable. According to recent studies, an estimated 25% of recyclable materials are contaminated and end up in landfills anyway. Misunderstandings like these not only waste resources, but also make the recycling process more expensive for facilities to manage. The key here is to remember that wish cycling, the act of tossing questionable items into the bin hoping they'll be recycled, does more harm than good. A better strategy? Learn your local recycling guidelines, clean out recyclable containers thoroughly, and make informed choices about eco-friendly packaging when you shop. But recycling alone won't save the planet. In fact, it's the least effective are in the classic reduce, reuse, recycle hierarchy. That's where upcycling comes in as a creative and impactful alternative. Unlike recycling, which often downcycles materials into lower quality products, upcycling gives new life to items by repurposing them in ways that retain or even increase their value. For instance, turning an old ladder into a vertical garden or transforming worn-out jeans into tote bags reduces waste while adding something unique to your life. The bonus? Upcycling reduces demand for new production, conserving energy and raw materials. Start small. Next time you plan to toss something, ask yourself if you can upcycle it instead. It's a fun way to minimize waste while nurturing a more sustainable lifestyle. Let's take a closer look at the smartphones, tablets, and earbuds that have become staples in our daily lives. While these devices make modern life convenient, their environmental impact is staggering, especially when they're discarded. Globally, the world generates over 50 million metric tons of electronic waste each year. Even worse, only about 20% of this e-waste is properly recycled, leaving mountains of toxic materials like lead and mercury to leach into soil and water. This pollution threatens ecosystems and human health alike. Electronics also rely on rare earth metals, materials that are mined with significant environmental damage. And yet, many of us replace devices unnecessarily or toss them aside once they seem outdated. So, what can we do to curb this growing crisis? First, consider recycling your old devices. Many manufacturers and retail stores offer free take-back programs that ensure proper recycling or refurbishing. For example, Apple's trade-in and similar initiatives from other brands help recover valuable materials while keeping harmful components out of landfills. If your device is still functional, donate it to organizations that rehome electronics to schools or low-income groups. Secondly, let's shift to purchasing smarter. Choose devices built to last, reparable, and with modular components. Checking for certifications like sustainable tech validations can guide your decisions. Opting for quality over convenience can tackle e-waste before it starts. Finally, think twice before upgrading to the latest gadget. Ask yourself, do I actually need this newer model, or am I upgrading just out of habit? Prolonging the life of your devices through regular maintenance, repairs, and careful care can drastically reduce the number of items entering the waste stream. Take it as a challenge. Every year you stretch the life of your device is a year you reduce waste, conserve resources, and shrink your ecological footprint. Let's start with a surprising statistic. The average car emits 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. For many people, daily commutes account for a significant portion of this number. Think about it. Those drives to work, school, or errands may feel routine, but they're cumulatively one of the largest single contributors to global greenhouse gas emissions. If you're driving solo in a traditional gas-powered car, your commute could indirectly be accelerating climate change. It's not just exhaust fumes. Consider the entire life cycle of fossil fuel production, from extraction to combustion. Add to that traffic congestion, which amplifies emissions as idling engines churn out pollutants. The environmental footprint of commutes goes much further than we realize. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are greener, more sustainable commuting options within reach for most of us. Carpooling, for instance, is a great way to cut down on vehicle emissions while fostering community connections. By sharing rides with coworkers, neighbors, or friends, you can significantly lower the overall number of cars on the road. Public transportation is another excellent alternative. A fully loaded bus or train can replace dozens of cars, reducing per-person emissions by up to 45%. For shorter distances, consider biking or walking. Not only do these active options produce zero emissions, but they also come with physical and mental health benefits that no car commute can match. The real key to reducing commuter-related environmental impacts is rethinking what mobility looks like in our day-to-day lives. Some cities are already leading the way with infrastructure changes like dedicated bike lanes, expanded public transit options, and incentives for carpooling or switching to electrical vehicles. On a personal level, even small decisions, like combining trips to minimize mileage or starting a carpool group, can collectively make a big difference. No solution is perfect, but adopting low-carbon habits in our commutes is a tangible, manageable step toward a more sustainable world. Together, we can think beyond the driver's seat and embrace a greener way of getting around. When you're out and about, it's easy to fall into the habit of relying on single-use plastics. From takeout utensils to disposable water bottles, these small conveniences add up. Nearly 10 million tons of plastic waste ends up in our oceans every year, harming marine ecosystems. But what if you could swap these items for reusable alternatives designed for life on the move? Start by investing in a compact, reusable utensil set, which can fit in your bag or car for whenever you're dining out. Silicone or collapsible straws are another great addition. They're lightweight, easy to clean, and drastically reduce the amount of single-use plastic straws you'll otherwise encounter. Pair these with a durable, stainless steel or double-wall insulated water bottle to eliminate the need for plastic water bottles entirely. Refillable coffee cups and reusable silicone snack bags can also change the game for your quick stops at cafes or for packing food on road trips. These small changes may feel insignificant at first, but over time, the amount of plastic waste you'll avoid is truly impactful. For an even more thoughtful shift, try assembling a zero-waste travel kit. This could include a foldable tote bag for impromptu shopping, beeswax wraps for wrapping food instead of plastic wraps, and even a portable cloth napkin to replace paper alternatives. These items are lightweight and can fit into a small pouch, making them easy to grab whenever you head out. Imagine the ripple effect if each commuter adopted this mindset. The average person uses about 730 disposable cups in just 1 year. By bringing your own reusable cup, you'd not only prevent waste, but also encourage others to consider doing the same. Plus, many coffee shops now offer discounts when you bring your own cup. It's these incremental steps that, collectively, pave the way for a global reduction in plastic dependency. Remember, convenience doesn't have to come at the cost of the environment. By taking these small yet meaningful actions, you're not just reducing unnecessary waste, you're actively participating in a sustainable future. Convenience foods often come at a hidden cost to the environment. Packaged meals, snack bars, and ready-to-eat items might save us time, but their reliance on single-use plastic, metallic foils, and multi-layered packaging makes them notoriously difficult to recycle. Globally, packaging waste accounts for nearly 40% of plastic usage, much of which ends up in landfills or the ocean. For example, a typical microwavable meal can consist of up to 3 non-recyclable materials in a single tray. It's not just packaging. These items are often shipped across multiple countries, significantly increasing their carbon footprint. Frozen foods, in particular, require energy-intensive cold storage during transportation, which adds to greenhouse gas emissions. When we unwrap that shiny wrapper or peel back that plastic lid, it's worth considering. What's the environmental story behind the convenience? But here's the silver lining. There are simple, eco-friendly alternatives that empower us to reduce this impact. For starters, meal planning can significantly cut back dependency on prepackaged convenience foods. Planning your weekly meals not only leads to healthier eating habits, but also minimizes last-minute takeout, another major contributor to waste due to its disposable containers. Cooking in batches is another effective strategy. Dishes like soups, stews, and casseroles can be made in larger quantities and stored sustainably in reusable glass containers for later use. These habits not only save time in the long run, but also dramatically lessen waste and emissions, especially if you source ingredients locally. Additionally, incorporating seasonal and local ingredients into home-cooked meals can reduce the environmental toll of food transportation. The bananas in your smoothie or the avocado on your toast may have traveled thousands of miles before making it to your plate. By supporting nearby farms and farmers markets, you're not only reducing the distance your food travels, but also cutting the greenhouse gases emitted during transportation. Even better, grow your own herbs or veggies at home if space allows. A windowsill garden with basil, mint, or thyme is a small eco-friendly step that packs a big punch. Every time we choose homemade alternatives over convenience foods, we're not just lowering our carbon footprint, we're also inspiring a cultural shift towards sustainability. Let's start with school supplies, a cornerstone for every family with children, but also a source of significant waste. Did you know that millions of plastic pens, markers, and single-use notebooks are discarded yearly, many ending up in landfills or the ocean? Instead of buying disposable items every school year, consider investing in reusable and sustainable options. Refillable notebooks, biodegradable pencils, and markers made from recycled materials are now readily available. For example, brands like Onyx Plus Green offer eco-friendly stationery made from bamboo, sugarcane, and recycled plastics. Additionally, encourage kids to reuse folders and binders by decorating them with stickers or drawings to give them a personalized and fresh look. Small efforts like these can build sustainable habits and significantly reduce waste over time. Now let's talk snacks. Pre-packaged, single-serving snacks are incredibly convenient but come at a steep environmental cost. They are often wrapped in multi-layer plastic that's nearly impossible to recycle. An alternative? Opt for buying snacks in bulk and storing them in reusable containers or beeswax wraps. For example, instead of purchasing individually wrapped granola bars, try making a batch of homemade ones with your kids. Not only is this a fun family activity, but it also allows you to control ingredients, reduce waste, and save money. For drinks, reusable water bottles or thermoses can eliminate the need for disposable juice boxes and bottled water. These small swaps can lead to big changes when adopted consistently. Finally, let's consider everyday household habits that can align with a more sustainable lifestyle. Laundry, for instance, is a chore that sees frequent repetition in families with kids. Yet, using hot water for every load consumes unnecessary energy. Washing clothes in cold water is just as effective for most garments and can reduce your energy usage by up to 90%. Additionally, switch from single-use dryer sheets to reusable wool dryer balls, which last for years and help reduce drying time. Another simple but impactful change. Teach kids the importance of managing waste by creating separate bins for paper, plastics, and compost in your kitchen. Not only does this instill environmental responsibility, but it also ensures that recyclable materials actually get recycled. The idea that small actions can create a big impact is more than just a cliche. It's a proven concept. Across the globe, we've seen the power of collective effort in monumental environmental shifts. Think about the plastic bag bans that have swept across cities and countries over the last decade. What started as individuals advocating for reusable bags has now led to significant legislative changes, with places like California reducing their plastic bag waste by over 85% after statewide regulations went into effect. These movements remind us that individual actions, like carrying a reusable bag, are never truly small when multiplied by millions. Social media campaigns have also shown how a single post or hashtag can spark measurable environmental action. Remember hashtag Meatless Monday? This global movement encouraged people to go meat-free one day a week, emphasizing the environmental benefits of reduced meat consumption. According to studies, if everyone in the U.S. embraced Meatless Monday for just 1 year, it could save the greenhouse gas equivalent of taking over 1 million cars off the road. By participating, individuals not only lower their personal carbon footprint, but also amplify awareness to an even larger audience. This highlights how small habits, like switching up one meal a week, can spark cultural shifts towards sustainability when shared and embraced collectively. Another inspiring example is the global surge in zero-waste challenges. Local communities rally around the idea of drastically reducing waste for a week or a month, often sharing tips and experiences online. These movements frequently result in long-term behavioral changes. One 2022 study found that participants of a 30-day zero-waste challenge reduced their household waste by an average of 50%, and many reported continuing sustainable practices after the event. These efforts underscore the importance of not aiming for perfection, but rather focusing on progress. Each personal commitment, no matter how small, contributes to the broader movement toward reducing our environmental footprint. As we wrap up our journey through the surprising ways our everyday habits impact the environment, one thing becomes strikingly clear: even the smallest actions hold immense power. The food scraps we compost, the reusable items we choose over disposables, the switch from fast fashion to long-lasting pieces. Each of these decisions collectively fuels the movement for a healthier planet. And while the environmental issues we've discussed may feel overwhelming at times, they are not insurmountable. Each step you take to reduce waste, conserve resources, or by thoughtfully creates ripples that inspire others to follow suit. Remember, change doesn't demand perfection. It simply asks for progress, just one thoughtful choice at a time. Throughout this video, we've uncovered both the hidden environmental costs of our routines and their straightforward alternatives. These solutions, whether it's saving water with efficient appliances, reducing energy waste through simple behavioral shifts, or cutting down on single-use plastics, are not just theoretical concepts. They're everyday opportunities that exist within our reach. And while the path to sustainability may look different for everyone, the underlying principle remains the same. The choices we make today directly influence the planet we leave behind. By adopting even one greener habit, you transform daily life into a testament of care and responsibility, not just for the Earth, but for future generations as well. Now it's your turn. Instead of ending this video here, let this be the beginning of meaningful change. Review your daily routines and ask yourself, what can I tweak, shift, or improve today? Maybe it's starting a compost bin at home, committing to walking or biking for short trips, or speaking up about your favorite sustainability tip to inspire your community. Even sharing this video or your newfound insights can spread awareness and spark a chain reaction. Together, we can each take small yet persistent steps toward a world where thoughtful, sustainable living is second nature. Let's rewrite the story of our habits for the sake of a cleaner, brighter future. If you want more no-fluff videos like this on unsustainable habits, subscribe now and share this with one friend who follows the game.